Hi, it's Marcus from Dad and Lads Gaming, and this is a little vlog I've been recording for the last couple of months, covering what I've been up to in the games rooms for summer 2020. Now this vlog isn't going to be for everybody, but it's something that I'm really passionate about, which is trying to get the best out of all my old consoles. So in both of these rooms I've got nice setups involving PVMs, BVMs and extra and cross points. Now for the last number of years I've had these things set up but never ever finished the job. For example, I want every monitor to have its own individual set of speakers. They're expensive because I want active monitor speakers. I need all additional cabling, because even now when anybody comes around they'll look at it and think that looks great, and it did look great, but I knew what needed doing was all behind all the units, I guess. Lots of cabling and lots of things which I've just been putting off because A, very expensive, and B, I knew it was going to take a lot of time, but I've thoroughly enjoyed doing this over this last couple of months of the summer anyway. So have a watch and I hope you get as much out of this as what I did.
It's me, Mario! Hello!
Move the Extron crosspoint, switch it to the top of this little unit, and as you can see now, just snugly put there's a MVX Extron VGA switcher just underneath it. So next is to put some shelving in there, which I've got some rack shelving to accommodate the VGA stuff, which at the moment is going to be, you can see over there, Xbox 360, Dreamcast, and possibly the Wii, because I can connect the Wii with VGA as well. So shelves to go in next, and obviously you can see the bottom there. I'm going to put them the two RGB pies that I've got in there as well on one of the shelves to try and maybe bolt it down somehow, which it might be difficult, but anyway, that's my little task to do next. It's your first black shelf in. Two more to put in. So these are just 19-inch rack mount shelves with them to use and the bolts, and I don't know if you can see there. Just measure the gap, pop them captive bolts in and just screw your shelf in. Really simple. Right, there's 3 shelves, so they're not obviously connected in yet, they just put in there so that's what it'll look like. So the shelves are quite narrow there, but there's still enough space to put the disc in. No problem. Then on that top shelf with the 2 RGB pies, as you can see the slots and the hose I'm open, I can sort of secure them to there, so it's a bit easier to put the arcade stick connectors in when I need to, rather than just floating around like they were before. So that's tomorrow's job. There we go. Pretty pleased with that, looks smart I think. Let's pause keyring for a second. There it is, paused. There you go, there's my first little one. The output ones are easy, you just have to link down the ground together. You've got the negative and minus, sorry, the 2 positives on the left and right channel. It's the input ones that are a bit of a ball, they actually got to put little links in as well. Let me see, I'll show them later, but anyway that's 1 of 8. Gotta keep going now. There are the 8 output cables all finished. So now the input ones, oh I've been trying to do them. They could take a bit longer, but there we go. 8 Phoenix, obviously they have the Phoenix connector there. And the left and right channels for the Extron cross point, and also upstairs I've got an Extron VGA switcher as well. And there is the 8 input audio Phoenix cables done. Not more fiddly, but there you go, all finished. Oh, look, rather crappy building work going outside. Never mind. There we go. Watching Scott Sega Zombie at the moment. Now we've got to test them all. Here's the worst part of doing any job like this. There's the 2 PVMs out the way because I need to get the back of this unit. I'm taking everything out. Obviously I needed the cables for those things now. And so I'm going to move a few of these things around. Now it is always tidy, but to put in perspective, if you can see behind these units there is always tons of cables. It's the nature of the beast, but it will be tidy when I'm done. Thing. But it's an absolute pain in the backside when it's like this. Wires clearly all over the place, but as you can see in there now, it's the VGA stuff. So there's a spot for everything. I'll put the 2 ST and me together, just think it looks nicer when they're both together in the middle. The 2 speakers from that stereo down there, I'm going to use that for the VGA stuff, which will be outputting from there as well. And I'm getting a set of monitor speakers for each PVM. So it does make sense in my head. And now there's a spare gap over there now, which I think, fingers crossed, when I eventually get one, will be a Japanese PS2. That is the plan anyway. So, but as you can see, all the wires and everything are still all over the place. But I don't mind. I might have to wait now because I'm expecting some cables from Retro Gaming Cables, so I have to wait a week or 2 for that now. But anyway, I don't mind having a mess for a while. It'll be worth it in the long run.
That was the best one. Laughing with it.
Very different
But
games.
you know, like on that game, they used to have like the rubbers used to come in the ring when you were playing it. They throw like cans at you in the ring and stuff while you were like doing your suplex or whatever.
The only thing I remember with that one was when you selected a wrestler, he would have a little rant. Do you remember? You put your...
Oh, yeah.
When you were selecting,
wasn't it?
yeah, you'd see a little animation. And you were saying, you should pick me, I'm the best, or something. And when you went to Raven, you just used to go, pick me, don't pick me, I don't care.
Wasn't that ECW on the Dreamcast? Wasn't that game pretty similar to sort of like don't really care, pick me, do what you want? What was it, Backyard Wrestling it was called, or something like that?
ECW had a couple, they were by the same people who did the Attitude and Warzone games. There was that engine. Hardcore something it was called, and I can't spend the whole bloody episode looking through my games collection. But that was it. Raven obviously made it.
Buttons are just placed back there for sort of space. So now, as you can see, I've got the two speakers for what will be the VGA monitor just underneath there. I didn't want to have the speakers too close to the monitors, you see, so now there's a bit of a gap. So that's one set there for that PVM. You just sit there for that PVM. So should be good. I've just got to obviously lift the PVMs back off the unit because it's much easier to get around the back of the unit without those big blooming things there. And I've obviously had a slight adjustment in there, so there's now a bit of an air gap between the VGA switcher and the Extron crosspoint switcher in case it overheats. So again, all the things I've got to mess about with now. But at least we're still making progress, that's the main thing. Let's make big game out quiet for a second. Right, so there we are. So at the minute we've got the cables there sorted for left PVM and the speakers, right PVM and the speakers. I'm going to leave all the cables underneath like that for the time being because I'm still waiting for BNC breakout cables to plug them into the Extron crosspoint, which is in there obviously. So it is looking slightly tidier, there's less wires all over the place, so slow and steady progress as ever. There we go. I've still got to put all the connect the VGA stuff into that unit as well, so the Dreamcast and the 360. I've moved the Wii on top of the little stereo system there simply because I was having issues putting that through the VGA switcher for some reason. I don't really know why. So that luckily that VGA monitor has two inputs, so all I've done is connected it directly into the monitor. Then obviously outputs in 480p, looks lovely on it. So that's the state of play at the moment. Stand by for further updates. Right, that's everything put back together where it needs to be. Like I said earlier, Neo Geo, Master System, Super Famicom, ST, Amiga will all have to wait for breakout cables and such like. But monitors in place, speakers in place. I haven't tested it yet, but I'm pretty confident. I've previously tested all my Phoenix cables, the cross points, so that everything should be okay. So final thing is just to pop some of the Halo Mega Box stuff on there. I'm still waiting for some new Raspberry Pi shells for those two RGB Pis, ones that actually mount on that top shelf in there, so it's a bit sturdy and it's easy to just plug an arcade stick in rather than falling all over the place. That's something I'm going to have to wait for. There I've got, let me think, that is HDMI to VGA converter, which I'm going to use on the VGA box. So that means I'll be able to then, in theory, come along and plug any HDMI output in console and display it on the VGA monitor. I think I've seen CRTK do that before PS3, it looks really good. So that's something I'm going to tinker with in future. So, all coming together. Like I said previously, watch this space. Right, the two Pi cases have arrived. They're just really clear plastic ones, but I don't think you see there. It's because they've got holes in the bottom, which I think hopefully should marry up with some of these on this rack shelf. And then if I can bolt it down, it means, if you can see there, when I'm plugging arcade sticks in and out of this, it just makes it a lot easier than it moving around all the time. That's what I had before. And they're just I mean, that one's okay, but the other one I had, which is there, didn't have any holes in it, so I just wanted them all to both to be the same basically. So now I've got to just basically strip them out, take the pie out of it, put in this more slimline box and bolt it down to this. So that's this job now. So let's crack on with that one, shall we? Right, I've decided on a small tie wrap. I've got some bigger ones just in case they're a bit too thick, but tie wrap holds it really nice and securely. I was concerned with it being a nut and a bolt, it's going to touch on the underneath of the pie, so it is literally just fed through and tightened. It is really tight, so I'm more than happy with that. So now I'll mount the other one and put the tops on them, so see what it looks like when it's all done. So again, let's have a look in a second, shall we? There they both are, mounted, nice and secure. Also that's the first generation RGB pie, that's the new one. That's the Tarte one, that's the one normal, or Yoko, if you want to be all clever about it. Time to put that back in the unit. And there we go, the parkhead stick. There's the Tarte one on the left, Yoko on the right. So there we go at the minute. So now I can just pick something, see if that works. There we go. So now it's easy now, you pull it out like so. Push straight in the other one, works easy. There we go. Now in case you're picking an actual run that works. Is that going to work everything still? Bad Dudes vs Dragon Ninja. There we go. We're happy with that. Excellent stuff. Is the big order I've got from Retro Gaming Cables. Been saving for quite a while. Doesn't look much, but there's a lot of expensive cables in here. So let's have a look first in the smaller box. So we have 1, 2, 3 BNC breakout cables, which are wired up for output purposes. So don't get them mixed up with any ones. There's the one side. There we have an RGB SCART cable for the Master System 1, and we have an RGB SCART with the stereo connector for the SNK Neo Geo AES. That's box number 1. So this is Ram Jam, this one. Let's look at box number 2. Right. Now this is boring, but I think it's awesome. So this is BNC breakout cable for input, and there should be 11 of these. As you imagine, all these is quite expensive, but Rob from Retro Game Cables did me an excellent deal. He's been absolutely fantastic and incredibly supportive throughout all this process. He's been really good over the phone. Really good. Can't recommend highly enough. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, finally 11. All set for input for the Extron cross points across the 2 rooms. Marvellous, we're finally getting there. So starting to put some cables in Games Room 2. So we've got that as Amiga SCART cable and the, I forget the name of that cable now, it's basically a link cable to go to the ST for link up play on certain games. I'm going to put that one in. got to put that one in. Master system, and I've just put the cables through the back there for the Famicom. So, and again, I've obviously got to go in where the Extron is with a breakout cable, so it's just slow and steady at the moment. But it's a total pain in the backside doing it, but it's obviously massively worth it when it's finished. So anyway, let's get on with it. So now I've basically got, let's have a look there. That's the Amiga RGB cable. That is a Super Famicom, Atari ST, and those two, the newer pack punch ones. It's in the Neo Geo and Master System. Time to get them bad boys plugged in, along with breakout cables. Apologies if the lighting's bad here, but there you can see I've got about, let me think what I've got to put there, about 7, sorry, breakouts there. I've done the output ones there now. So it is a total rat's nest of wires behind here, but I don't mind these. I think it sort of suits the back of a surfer cabinet or loads of wires. I don't mind. Obviously everywhere else I like to keep the wires hidden. I'll show you the next one. The server cabinet in Games Room 1. So if I can get the angle right, there's hopefully the light's okay, but as you can see I've got breakouts to add in amongst the components and previous breakout cables I've already got. So again, lots of cables. There we go. And put them in. So all the breakouts in there now. In the back of there, you can see the spare hanging down. I'm now waiting for some SCART extender cables so I can put the cables in just over behind that unit there, through the hole in the wall where the brush plate is, through the back where that CRT is. There's another brush plate behind here. So I'll feed it all in so it's a bit neater. So I've just got to wait for those SCART extenders now before I can finish off in here, but there we go. Like I say, I like the cable look in the back of the rack unit. It's just, I don't know, it suits it almost, even though me, being what I'm like, I don't like cables, and that's my consoles I can switch between, and different screens I can switch between, so that's cool. There we go, on to the next room. See there now, all the breakouts are now in the back of this. There was actually 7 out to put out, I miscounted. There's 8 in total, 8 in and 4 out. So now we've just got to connect the actual SCART cables from the consoles to them, and we're away. But this is not a fun job when you're in your 40s, cramped behind this unit. It's not fun at all, but anyway, nice one, it's done. Use the Extron Crosspoint label maker to make some better quality labels. All they are basically just some A4 paper printed out, and I've put them underneath the slots. I show now, and obviously just easy to see from the push of a button which console I'm going to connect to which output. That's in room 1. I'll just pause this now and show you what I'm currently doing in room 2 with the other Extron. Slightly different Extron in there. So now I've just made these are small labels that go inside the individual buttons actually. And you see for different various things I've created. Again, just using the label maker. So that's going to go. As you can see, I've already popped a few of the buttons off. The buttons there. I'm already doing to pop them off. I'll try and do this one-handed if I can. So let's lay down the floor while I do it. So there. Where am I going here? Right, get the screwdriver. Pop them under number 9. Just pop them off like that. So they're quite easy to get off. And then what you need to do then, it's got like what they call a diffuser in the back. It's got an even smaller screwdriver. Just prise the diffuser off, and the button goes inside it. So hopefully it should look decent when it's finished. But I'll pause it there, and we'll have a look when I've finished the job. Yeah, labels, diffusers, the actual front of the switch. So I need to now find some way of getting the number off. It's actually like it's a. I'm going to try not to scratch it off. Maybe try a bit of alcohol or something. But I want to get the numbers off because I just want to see the actual. And even then, I might need to get them printed on something. Maybe other than paper. A bit of a work in progress this one, but I'll see what it's like when I put the switches together. They're easy to take apart. But I say, but I do definitely want those numbers off first, so I can just see the picture of what the devices you're going to be switching. So that's it for now. Right, I managed to clean the numbers off okay with some alcohol in the garage, and that's what they look like now. So there's 12 in total, so it's 8 input and 4 output. They look good like that. I'm just hoping that obviously these switches are backlit, so I'm just hoping they're going to look okay when there's a bit of light shine to them, and they're just blank ones. So let's put them back on and see what they look like, shall we? Put some already. I'll try and show you how simple it is while I'm laid down. So what's, let me see, number 7. It's going to be the PS2, which I don't have yet. I'm going to finally put a Japanese PS2 out here. Basically put that on and just click on that. Yeah, really easy, click on and off. And then finally number 8 is Master System. There we go. And the output one, so let me see, so left PVM. That one. Left PVM, then right PVM. Yeah, right PVM, then it is the Tate Sony output. And finally the OSSC. So there's all I'm put on now. And now it's just a case of putting the blanks back on. These actually, even though it's set up with all these buttons, these aren't used because it's only 8 in and 4 out. So let's just put the blanks back on. There we go. Nice and easy. It doesn't. You can't really see because of the glaring hit down here. But like I say, I'm crossing my fingers. It look good when they're lit up, but that looks a lot easier now. And just look, touch of a button without looking. I had a little list here of what I was using, so now they're all numbered and sorry, they're all got icons for each output and input. A lot easier. So let's switch it on and see what it looks like. It's a shame I can't put labels on the Extron VGA switcher. I'm going to have just a little list for that, but never mind. But so there we are now, so let's switch one on. So I'll switch on the RGB Pi. There we go. It's currently outputting to both PVMs, so you can obviously turn one off like that, then you click on enter. So to look, it's Atari ST, Amiga. I'm happy with that. It's like a red glow behind it, but they light up fine, so I know what they are. Neo Geo, Super Famicom, PS2, Sega Master System, so yeah, more than happy with that, very pleased. Breakout cables from Retro Gaming Cables have arrived. So there's 2 with installed for the frame ice and OSSC, so it didn't damage them, and 2 they've got sync strippers in, so hopefully now, fingers crossed, the Turk and the Neo Geo should work. So I'll get them put into that and give it a test. Let's see how we got on with them. They came a lot quicker than I thought. Rob's the top guy, so let's give them a blast. The 2 problematic consoles, I had the problems with the sync. So now that's the normal flicker on the screen just from the recording device, but that's Atari ST working fine now. I'm so absolutely flipping delighted with that. So I've still got to finish this draw off because I probably didn't cover it in the video, but my that right side RGB Pi, sorry, the Retro Pi packed in, so I'm waiting for another one to come. Then I can put that shelf back in there, and I'll also put the OSSC on it as well, so that's all set up ready now to go. So once that's in today, this room should be finished finally, which will be fucking brilliant. So delighted with that. That was good timing. It's just arrived about 20 minutes after I finished that other little job. So now I'm going to put it in there and I can finally sort this room out. Fantastic, let's get it done. There's another little minor job I've just done. So I've moved this TV out the other room onto this setup here. This TV I'm using the OSSC. It's a lot more modern than the other one I had. This one's 40-inch. I use old games on PC off GOG and also modded Xbox 360 with loads of Japanese shooters on. So the reason it's good here is because it is a bit of a faff, but I can rotate that monitor now. So a rotated titanium monitor for the Japanese shmups on the PC and the 360 is excellent. So that leads me through here. And this is just it's a quality old plasma actually. It does 1080p to Viera. I think it's a 42-inch plasma, I believe. And it's got a cracking picture on it. Everyone knows, well, all the TVs, the plasmas have really nice pictures on them, so that looks good. So I'm very pleased with those two little things I've just done. So the current job is to mount the OSSC somewhere where I can easily access it and plug it in basically, so it doesn't look too bad. There was no room for it in that unit. So I've got a little white shelf, and I tell you what, look on there, it looks absolutely dreadfully out. I've checked it with the spirit level and it's okay. I'm guessing the floor must be a bit out, but I've put it nice and level. It looks absolutely shocking. I should have, in hindsight, I should have just done it by sight. But anyway, so there it is. That's the little shelf I'm going to plug it in, so at least I can always easily access the OSSC. If I come out a little bit, it doesn't look too bad. It's obviously, I get frustrated because I want things to be neat. It does look neat, but I want it to be perfect. But there you go. It's a tiny bit out. It's probably a bit the unit's a bit out. Maybe the floor is a bit as well. But anyway, see level unit on a wall that probably isn't level. There you go. There's the OSSC mount. Just gotta plug it all in now. And there it is. The cables aren't too bad. I've neatened them up by putting Velcro straps around them. So now whenever I need to use the OSSC, I just have to plug a HDMI out there, which will then obviously go into that TV. So yeah, it's a little bit messy for my standards, but I don't mind. And all I need to do now is, when I'm using it, is use the different outputs from the two Extron, either VGA into it or RGB into it. So at least it's easy now to plug in when I want to use it. That's the main thing. Next job is to finally extend the connections from those consoles around the back of the wall into that Extron device in that cabinet. Now I was going to make my own SCART extension cables, but then some good advice off Cine Steve. He said, why don't I extend the BNC side of it? It'd be cheaper than the cables I've got. I've got one, so I bought two pre-made up BNC cables, and I'm experimenting on buying individual cables, because the way I see that, if I tape them all together neatly, it'll mean there's even more shielding. So just a bit of an experiment. So I'm going to have two proper BNC cables and two made up cables, I guess you could call them, and then I've obviously extending the audio for each one as well. And there's the female BNC to BNC connectors, because then what it'll mean is on the back of the console side you can just see the SCART heads there. I'll be actually putting the SCART to BNC behind that unit, behind the console, rather than on the back of the Extron like I normally do. So it's a bit of an experiment. There's no reason why it won't work. So I've got some work in front of me now. I've got to make those other cables up and plug all the wires into the wall. So that's the next job. And the final job with any luck as well. Well, here we are then. It's only a minor thing, but I got some white electrician's tape. So I wanted to mark it up. So obviously I have to mark each end of the cable to know which one it is. And this is like I said, my little test. They're the two pure BNC cables which I've now taped the audio to. And these are the actual single BNC cables which I've made together in sort of one loom. So that's for one system. That's from the other system. So as you can see, there's 4 cables to run, all 5 meters in length, and they're going to be running behind that unit. So those 4 BNC cables for each of those consoles. So there's Mega Drive, Saturn, PS1 and NES. Now I would be putting these BNC breakout cables now behind this unit, and the cables will run through that area there into the wall. And you can see in the back of there, through to there, and then out there and into the back of the Extron cross point. So that's the plan. I'm going to do that tomorrow because now I've got to work my last night shift for this set in about an hour, and I won't have time. Once I start it, I want to finish it, so I'm going to have to leave it till tomorrow when I wake up, mid-morning or afternoon anyway. That's tomorrow's job, and that means finally, when this is all done tomorrow, I've actually, for the first time in flipping years, finally finished room 1 and room 2, the full sort of RGB component Extron setup, and I will finally be able to just put the power to them and just play any console at the flick of a switch, which is always the plan. So anyway, that's it for today. We'll continue this tomorrow. Oh god, this is a total mess about. So I take the consoles out from under the TV, and I've got to try to feed it through the wall basically like this, and I will neaten them up afterwards, fed behind that TV. But there they are through there ready to connect to the consoles. So I've now got to feed this side of the cable through there and the back of the Extron. Total faff about, but we're halfway there. And what we've got to keep us interested while working, we've got 2 to UK. So let's get cracking. There's the cables running behind there. I still need to neaten them up. But I want to connect them all first to make sure I don't have to like pull in any back or forth or anything like that, so I'll get them all neat afterwards. Maybe in a future video. Tommy had to help me with that bit there. Maybe in a future video to how angry I just got trying to get the wires to there. That was really pleasant for Tommy really, because I'm a grumpy old get. So there we go. Got to go off to karate train now, so that's another job probably for tomorrow to finish off hopefully. Right, there we are, all finished. You can see behind there, the cables are okay. I've sort of tied them together as one harness and it looks alright. Not as bad as I would think. Now behind obviously this Extron camera is absolutely horrific. Behind there it's obviously bad, but all in all, when you sort of sat up gaming, I think it's really tidy. So now I've got what I've got there, N64 run the BVM, PS2 running on that 36-inch Toshiba CRT, and the SNES running on the little 14-inch PVM. Now obviously you can swap it around now, so for example I can put the SNES there, which is, where are we? SNES onto the 20-inch PVM and press enter, and that's now on there. Makes it so flexible, so much easier, and by the same token I can now swap, let me see, so N64 to the 14-inch PVM, sorry, there we go. So I can swap them around at will. I can now send the PS2. Let's send the PS2 over to the BVM. Now there's obviously a sync issue there now, so I just have to change the channel. So I've sent the cable component and RGB down the same way you see. There we go. There we go. So easy and so flexible, and that's it, all finally finished. You get in there, I'm absolutely delighted, and it looks really, really smart. Right, and that's the end. Like I said at the beginning, I absolutely loved putting all this stuff together. It was a lot of hard work, but now anybody walks in, at the touch of a button, I can put any console on to multiple screens. In this room, I can now record to this computer, this TV, or sorry, to the Mac, using the OSSC. There's lots of things now in both rooms set up for me to immediately walk up, touch a button, and play a console. And obviously the quality of those active speakers I bought, they sound absolutely tremendous. So thanks for watching everybody, and I'll see you next time.